tomorrow morning when the lights come on for the Big Zero wrap-up sale. They won't go out until Christmas Eve because we're staying open day and night for 6 days straight.
Christmas is coming. We're gonna get you humming. Save and save.
Save 15 to 40% on selected gifts.
All day and night we'll be there.
24 hours a day, non-stop till Christmas Eve.
We'd like to make Santa your store.
Wrap it up now.
We'd like to make Santa your store.
Kids learn from people they respect. What is your child learning from you? The American Heart Association is fighting for your life.
Channel 2, WBBM TV, Chicago. Mike Parker, Susan Anderson, John Coughlin, and Kevin Lynn. The Channel 2 Weekend News.
Wind-driven flames roar through a convention hotel in San Francisco. 1 resident is killed, 25 more are injured. Dozens are forced to flee in their night clothes into the chill morning air. While in Chicago, suburb of Justice, firemen battle ice and Arctic cold as fire sweeps through an apartment complex. As many as 7 people are injured, including several of the firemen, and dozens of residents are driven from their homes. Good evening, I'm Phil Walters. Carol Krause and I are sitting in for Mike and Susan. It has never been as cold on any December the 18th in Chicago as it is right now. And according to John Coughlin, it's getting worse. John?
Well, Phil, at 10 minutes before 8 o'clock tonight, the official temperature reading out at O'Hare Field dropped to 10 degrees below zero, and that makes this the coldest December 18th since they've been keeping records in Chicago, and that goes back well over 100 years. And it's going to get colder tonight. Temperatures along the lakefront anywhere between 5 and 10 below zero. In the far western suburbs, anywhere between 10 and 20 degrees below zero. Now, we're not expecting any snow tonight, but by the morning rush hour, wind chill factors could be anywhere between 30 and 40 below zero. Keep that in mind when you're heading for work or sending the children out to school. We'll have the full forecast just a little bit later. Phil and Carol?
Thank you, John. In the Middle East tonight, U.S. Navy ships have opened fire again on Syrian positions in the mountains east of Beirut. The USS Ticonderoga and USS Tatnall were called into action just minutes after Syrian gunners fired on 2 American reconnaissance planes. Both of those planes returned to base safely. There is no word yet on any deaths or damage resulting from the U.S. shelling.
And to the north, in the city of Tripoli, Israeli gunboats opened fire on PLO forces preparing to leave Lebanon. Israeli gunboats appeared off the coast of Lebanon this morning and for the 6th time in 10 days fired on forces loyal to Yasser Arafat. Those forces returned the fire, but there is no report of any major damage on either side. Meanwhile, the 4,000 men still loyal to Arafat are packing up and getting ready to move out. 5 Greek ships are scheduled to pick them up tomorrow and take them to Yemen and to Algeria. Meanwhile, some of Arafat's men wounded in earlier fighting with Syrian-backed rebels arrived in Cairo, Egypt today for treatment. Many needed help getting off the plane, but most made it clear they still support Arafat. And most say they will continue to fight for a Palestinian homeland, no matter where they may end up.
In London tonight, the IRA is apologizing for yesterday's bombing of a department store that killed 5 people and injured 91 others. As London police picked through the debris at Harrods today, the IRA promised that such an operation would not happen again and claimed that IRA leaders never authorized the bombing. Inside Harrods, more than 1,000 people rushed to get the store ready for tomorrow's opening.
And we believe the right thing to do is to get the store open and working as quickly as possible. And this is exactly what we shall do.
And in Madrid, the aftermath of another tragedy. All of Spain is mourning the deaths of 79 people who died yesterday in a fire at a discotheque. Tonight, police are questioning the owners of the disco because several emergency exits had been locked shut when the fire broke out.
Here in this country, as we mentioned, a fire in San Francisco has destroyed an old hotel and convention center. In its heyday, it was called the Jack Talk. It is old now, and when the fire started on an upper floor this morning, it spread quickly, feeding on the woodwork and the drapes. A brisk wind blowing through the open windows fanned the flames, and residents by the dozens had to be helped down fire ladders to safety. 1 guest was found dead in her room. 25 were injured. The cause is not known.
In the Midwest, the bitter cold gave firefighters all they could handle as they battled still more fires. In Detroit, a fire in an apartment building housing mostly elderly residents killed at least 6 people. Arson is not suspected.
And in the Chicago suburb of Justice, more than 40 people are spending the night in an emergency shelter after fire destroyed their apartment complex. The fire at Lambert Quarters broke out before dawn in a second-floor apartment. Water froze in the cold as firemen worked to contain the flames.
The main thing was the weather. That was our main factor. Luckily, we got good water supply. We got the truck set up. It kind of burned up and out, similar to the fire in Des Plaines a few months ago.
Residents were helped to safety by fire escapes. Most managed to save only the clothes on their backs.
Were you able to save very many of your belongings?
Just what we have on. Just what you see us on with. That's it.
The homeless were taken to an emergency shelter set up by the Red Cross at City Hall. Many were dazed.
This is happening. I really can't, like a dream.
At least 2 firemen were hurt and at least 1 resident. Fire investigators still do not know the cause.
John Coughlin will be along in a minute to tell us how long we'll have to put up with this cold weather. And later, Kevin Lynn has the story of a storybook ending for the Bears.
Hi, I'm Chicago. I have my own kind of politics, my own kind of music, my sports teams, and when I laugh, the whole world grins. I have my own radio station, WGN. We go all day, we go all night. Anytime you want me, just tune in here or give me a call.
WGN Radio is Chicago.
The Emmy winner Scotch Video Cassettes for having pioneered and perfected videotape.
Watching your favorites day after day, keeping the wonder play after play, knowing the color and brightness will stay. The world watches Scotch. The world watches, world watches, world watches Scotch.
At All Center Video, McDade & Company, and Music Craft stores.
You must remember, friends, you have to play to win. Could be millions if you try. That lotto grand prize keeps on growing as time goes by.
I have to go.
Sure, 30, you're in lotto now. You're worth millions.
Good luck, 5.
Of all the lottery balls in all the world, she had to pop up next to me.
Yeah, lotto grand prize keeps on growing as time goes by.
Where is it written that this man has to use a sleigh 365 days a year? Introducing the 4-wheel drive Toyota Tercel wagon. It has lots of room. It gets the best gas mileage of any 4-wheel drive wagon, and it switches from front wheel to 4-wheel drive on command. The 1984 Tercel wagon, the official car of Santa Claus.
Ho, 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 ho. What a feeling, Toyota.
In looking at the pictures of those fires, it's amazing the kind of ice castle, the beauty that can come out of a terrible fire. John Coughlin, how much longer is this iciness going to last?
Well, I think we're going to have icicles around here probably for the rest of this week. I think it's going to moderate a little bit by the middle of the week, but tonight it is going to be bitterly cold. Temperatures will range from 5 to 10 below close to the lake, 10 to 20 below in the far western suburbs. Tomorrow we'll have some sunshine, especially in the morning, but it's going to be very cold again, high of about 0 to maybe only 10 below for a high temperature tomorrow. By tomorrow night, it'll start to moderate just a little bit, but by tomorrow night, it's a pretty good chance we'll see some snow here in Chicago. What we have actually is a cold Arctic air mass right down out of the Canadian Yukon. This big area through here is a center of high pressure, and you can see these high temperatures today, 14 below in Fargo, North Dakota, 3 above was our high temperature today back at midnight, 9 above 0 way down here in Oklahoma City. This high will drift slowly off to the east. As it does so, our skies will stay clear tonight and much of the day tomorrow, and then by tomorrow night and Tuesday, this next weather system will move in, giving us a chance of some snow and slightly moderating temperatures in the teens. Here's a quick look at the satellite view of the country. And you can see mostly clear skies over our part of the country. Full moon tonight right here in Chicago. A few little light high clouds and some heavier clouds along the East Atlantic seaboard and some heavier clouds out here in the Rockies. The national radar shows what those clouds are producing, and you can see some snow out here to the east of us in the eastern Great Lakes and some rain along the eastern seaboard down into Florida. And on through here, you're beginning to pick up some snow out in the Rockies, and that snow could get to Chicago by tomorrow night. Temperatures around here late this evening, Take a look at that. 12 below in Cary, 8 below in semi-tropical Buffalo Grove, 10 below in St. Charles, 9 below in Orland Park, and 4 below in Michigan City. The official high temperature in Chicago today back at midnight was 3 above. The low is the current reading of 11 below, a record. As you can see, there's sunrise and sunset for tomorrow. Currently, we have a reading of 11 below at O'Hare with a wind chill of 30 below zero. Lakefront 6 below, 8 below at Midway. We have winds of 6 miles an hour from the northwest. Here's the forecast for tonight in Chicago. Clear skies, bitter cold, 5 to 20 below zero tonight with the colder temperatures away from the lake. Partly sunny and cold tomorrow, 0 to 10 below. And on Tuesday, cloudy with a chance of snow, high of about 13 degrees above zero. We'll be in the teens. Then on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, again, a chance of some snow toward the end of the week. Bill, Carol?
Thank you, John. Beautiful moon, though, you're right. Gorgeous. And tonight at the Chicago Stadium, they retired the number of the Golden Jet. We will have that story and Bear Packer highlights after a break.
There's a new pet, Chia Pet, the pottery that grows. Just soak the chia seeds, spread them on your Chia Pet, and keep him filled with water. In a few days, he sprouts his own beautiful green herbal coat, and soon you've got a lovely houseplant. Everyone loves Chia Pet. They're fun to watch and easy to grow. So get one for yourself and one for that perfect gift. Chia Pet, the pottery that grows.
Now available at Walgreens, Perry, Osco, and participating hardware stores.
Tatiana, it entices, it captivates, it seduces. I create a parfum, Tatiana, for a woman to love and a man to remember.
Just in time for the holidays, Diane von Furstenberg presents the Tatiana Trousseau, a special offer for you at Carson Peary Scott.
Dear Republic Airlines, like most account managers, I'd be lost without my appointment book. So when I lost it, your mechanic in Chicago, Joe Orenick, not only found my book, he called my office to say he found it, then returned it with a note that said, "Thanks for flying Republic. We'd like to serve you again soon." You will, Republic. You will.
Every year, Republic gets thousands of letters that really say the same thing. Nobody serves our Republic like Republic.
Imagine the sound of your voice as it's changed into light, then sent over a single thin filament with thousands of other voices. Imagine a communications network carrying voice, data, and video, all at the same time, all over the world. Imagine the company that can do all this is doing it now. Illinois Bell, say hello to the future.
Well, if the football season had been about one game longer, the Bears might have made the playoff. Kevin Lynn has the season's frozen farewell.
I think if they could just play the first half the way they played the second half, they'd be pretty tough. The season's over, and what an ending. The Bears became the cardiac Kodiaks, or something like that, at least for a day. They beat the Packers on a last-second field goal, 23-21. The Bears end the year with 5 wins in their last 6 games. They end up a respectable 8-8. Lots of folks say that this is a typical finish for the Bears. I leave that for the cynics. I leave it to Walter Payton to talk about the change in the team.
We started making our own breaks. In other words, we just wouldn't let up. And it showed. The defense, unbelievable. These past 8 games, and the offense, they were moving the ball. And I feel that the nucleus we have here, that we could play with anybody.
So when I turned around, I covered the ball up real well and held on to it just in case I did get smacked. But you know, the coaches told me the safety came through the line and then turned around and started chasing the running back. So I guess he bid on it.
Before we get to that final play, I thought we'd just come back and remind you to remember when the situation was reversed. It was a couple of weeks ago. It was the Bears up in Green Bay. The Bears had to win or go home for the winner. Remember that? Well, this is what happened. Jan Stenerud kicked the field goal on the last play of the game. The Packers won at 31-28. The Bears' hopes for the postseason effectively died in Green Bay. Today, the shoe was on the other foot. Literally, the shoe was on the other foot. Bob Thomas had a chance to do it to Green Bay. You best believe it. He wanted to.
Brian turned to me after the hold, and he said, "That's the worst hold I've given you in my life." And but if it was hard for me to kick, it was equally hard for Brian to hold and Jay to snap.
Bob told you it wasn't easy, but the Bears got it done. Bob Thomas kicked the winning field goal.
The nucleus of young players that we have. I mean, we got a lot of guys, first, second, third, fourth years that are playing well for us, and I think that you know, they come of age this year.
Mike has had a tremendous influence on the organization, behind the scenes and on the field. And I think we have confidence in him, but I also think that, as he controls his emotions, he's going to continue to become a better coach.
The attitude of the team changed. When you can say that team, well, that's when you're heading in the right direction.
I mean, people started playing for each other.
Right.
Right, I never argue with him. Well, the NFL regular season ended today. Not to worry, there are lots of playoff games left for at least another month. In all the divisions, nowhere was the word parity more clear than the NFC Central. Detroit won it with a 9-7 record. The Lions are the champs, but is Billy Sims the chump? Seems he signed a contract with the Useful's Houston franchise before the year. Seems he just signed another deal with the Lions like it this weekend. Didn't stop him from catching this pass. And the Lions beat the Bucs 23-20 to win their first NFC divisional title. In fact, it was their first title of any kind since 1957. They end the regular season 9-7. Anyway, but the difference between the team that stays home and the team that goes is this close. As close as that margin on the field goal. Rams go on 26-24. The Saints go home. Right. Bum is bummed. Neither the Eagles nor the Cards will go on to the playoffs, but at least the Cards will go home respectable. Otis Anderson scored. The Cards won 31-7. They finish 8-7-1. The Eagles die at 5-11. Seattle's nothing but tough. They're going to the playoffs for the first time ever. They beat New England today 24-6. Seattle's 9-7. The Patriots go home for the winner at 8-8. The Browns had to beat the hated Steelers to stay alive for the playoffs, so they did, 30-17. The Steelers are the AFC Central champs at 10-6. Thanks to the wizardry of the playoff system, the Browns have a slim chance too. They're 9-7. And the smallest crowd in modern NFL history saw the Chiefs embarrass the Broncos in Kansas City. The folks who stayed home missed a 48-17 kill by the Chiefs. They end up 6-10. The Broncos go on to the playoffs at 9-7. Buffalo had to win to stay alive for the playoffs, so they lost to Atlanta 31-14. The Falcons finish up a sorry 7-9. The Bills a 500 type, 8-8. The Colts beat the Oilers 20-10. The Oilers finally get their season over with a whimper at 2-14, worst record in the league. The Colts are mediocre, but that's an improvement at 7-9. No longer do they have to worry about who the best draft choice is in college. And the Raiders closed out the regular season with the win, 30-14 over the Chargers. The Raiders are the AFC West champs at 12-4. The Chargers, who'd have thought they'd end up 6-10 on the year? Well, not me. And we'll have more about football. Johnny Morris will be along with Coach Mike Ditka after a break. They'll talk about looking back and looking forward. Stay with us.
This is the Peugeot wagon. A station wagon that is bigger than the best-selling imported or American wagons. A wagon that will carry almost half a ton. The Peugeot 505S. Perhaps the most comfortable wagon in the world today.
Test drive all the new Peugeot Wagon 505s at your Chicagoland